I'm Ken Smith with the WREL Coronavirus Podcast for Monday, December 14th. 286 days since North Carolina reported its first case of coronavirus, the first vaccines arrived in our state Monday. It's been an unprecedented effort to quickly and safely develop the vaccine, and local hospitals are getting the first doses to inoculate their frontline staff members first. Now, with hundreds of thousands of doses being manufactured and every part of the state needing to get them, the distribution plan itself has been a mastery of planning, coordination, and cooperation. WREL's Keely Arthur talked with a person right here in North Carolina who is on the front line of that distribution planning, UPS Healthcare President Wes Wheeler, who is based right here in the Triangle.
Last night, all the aircraft were loaded. They went all to other locations around the country. They were sitting in their locations last night. This morning, we started the outbound sort. So they go into the trucks, the drivers, and at 7:21 this morning, we had the first delivery. So there's probably at least 100 drivers involved, hundreds of other people in Worldport here in Louisville. It started in February when we started to move PPE from China into the United States. I think we moved 24 million pounds of PPE into the US on 230 charter flights. So that's really when it started. And we were going full bore with PPE, which morphed into test kits and lab samples and all these small laboratory companies around the country testing for COVID. And then about April time, we got involved in the first clinical trial for COVID, which was the Pfizer trial. And we provided all the supply chain support for that. In fact, a lot of that support came out of our Raleigh office. So we got involved very early with the Pfizer vaccine and got to know it well, understood the parameters. And we used that knowledge to kind of morph into the next phase, which is getting ready for the commercial distribution. So it's been a process since February. And to see that first flight landing yesterday was pretty emotional for all of us.
In terms of like the airtightness of getting these deliveries and shipments in on time, I mean, is failure not an option as well too?
Yeah, failure is definitely not an option. That's why I'm watching every shipment today. I don't normally watch every shipment, but in this particular case, I am. I have said in the past, and you've probably seen some of this, we have a special technology which we've attached to every package. It allows us to give the vaccine delivery a priority in the whole process. Now, we're having the best performance year we've ever had during the peak season. We're delivering well over 25 million packages a day, and we've had the best on-time performance we've ever had because we're really planning well for the volume. We knew the volume was coming this year, so back in the summer we were planning on just how much we could push through the network during the peak season, and then we carved out some volume in the network for the vaccines, and we used our modeling that we developed back in the summertime, how much potential volume we could see if 2 or even 3 vaccines were approved at the same time. So I think we've got this covered. So far, everything's perfect. For me as an engineer, I'd like to see 6 Sigma performance. So we don't want to have one single dose late, and late is 10:30 local time. And I'm still tracking to that right now as we speak.
Obviously, the vaccine plays a huge role in us getting back to some sense of normalcy. What are you most excited for in terms of things to do in North Carolina when we return to normal?
Well, my wife and I live in Chapel Hill. We are Tar Heel fans. We have season tickets for basketball and football. We haven't been able to go to but one football game with only about 7% of the people allowed in. It was pretty exciting to see a football game for a change, to be live. But it didn't seem the same. The band wasn't out, and all the excitement that you see at a Tar Heels football game. But basketball is even more important to me, and we've just started the season, and we don't have our tickets because I don't think we're allowed in except for parents. So I'm really disappointed about that. So I'm going to make sure that vaccines get delivered to North Carolina so we can get back to the basketball season.
And head of the State Department of Health and Human Services, Dr. Mandy Cohen, also put out a message Monday for North Carolinians on the vaccine.
There's good news in the fight against COVID. Tested, safe, and effective vaccines will be available to all, starting with those most vulnerable to the virus. Rest assured, you have a spot, and you'll be able to take your best shot against COVID. Find out when you can take your shot and where.
321. Thanks for listening to our coronavirus podcast. We welcome your feedback and be sure to download the WRAL Coronavirus podcast so you won't miss an episode. I'm Ken Smith.